Is there a particular way to periodize some things that historians like to do is to periodize things? So when you
Yes.
look at colonialism, it's such a long stretch of period, 1819 all the way to 1941. So if you were to look at it from Singapore's development as a colonial port city, how would you periodize this period?
Mm.
Whose way of looking at it?
Of course, I think you could. I mean, you could immediately look at someone like Turnbull, right, and have that very standard sort of periodization where you're looking at from company port to the Strait settlements, or under the Indian government to start with, under Indian governance, through to Strait settlements, Crown Colony, and so on. I tend to sort of see the opening of the Suez as a fairly major marker, because by that point you're already looking at Crown Colony, and that is really the point at which you've got this sort of transformation of Singapore. In terms of the port, and you've got a shift from a river port to New Harbour a bit after that, so it's getting closer to 1900, but that's also another major shift. So you go from it's still a busy port, but one which is geared to those larger coastal steamships, for instance. So I think about it in that way. So yeah, I think you can definitely chart it out if you want to think about it in terms of administrative sort of units. That's one way of looking at it. Or if you want to paint the broader picture, you can say, well, 1819 to about 1860s is still quite formative. You've still got that sort of emergence of Singapore as a port. There's a lot of letter writing back to London asking for funding. There's lots of complaints about the river. But from about the 1870s to 1914 is when you have this basically Singapore's position within empire is sort of reaffirmed as a crown colony, and at the same time it emerges as a major global port. So you could paint it into those broader with broader strokes if you wanted to, but certainly you could trace all of this actually along a timeline.